Hello, I'm
Hello.
Daria.
Start over.
Should we start over? I'm like, who am I talking to, Sarah
I
or the
know. I'm like,
audience?
hi, Daria.
Okay. Hello, thank you for being here. I'm Daria Tavoularis, an artist, author, and priestess, and I'm here with the beautiful Sarah Colette to talk about the launch of my new website, which Sarah built and designed with me in co-creation. And it's been such an amazing process. And we thought we would come on and celebrate this launch and just share a little bit about what we've experienced working together, bringing this creation into life. So, welcome, Sarah.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today in celebration of Daria's new site, which we are both absolutely so excited about. And we're here to share more about it and the process that went into its co-creation.
So, I one of my struggles has been that I work in so many areas. So I make art for adults, I make art for children, I teach, I'm a priestess and a spiritual teacher, and I offer healings. And I've always felt like a bit of a fragmentation between my offerings, even though at the heart they all come from the same place and they all are here to serve the same purpose. And so I really wanted to have a website that could consolidate all of my work and my offerings, really pay honor and tribute to my teachers, both in my living teachers and also the guides and spirits that work with me and help me. And so that was the first thing that I wanted with the website. And then I also wanted a foundation. So I wanted something that could really define my space, my platform, to help me to establish my boundaries around my work, to call in the people who would be in resonance with what I do. And so for that, my frequency really had to come through. And Sarah was the perfect person to work with. She has this amazing gift for really seeing and calling forth the potential and that kind of spiritual essence and core. And it was such a serendipitous beginning because I just had a psychic hit ask Sarah, and I didn't even know that she had a background in web building and design, and it just came together. And we both learned so much through the process. So, anyway, Sarah, how about you? Do you want to talk about how this all started?
Sure. Yeah. So, as Daria mentioned, she reached out with the intent to see how I could assist with her website. And we started by asking the creation how it wanted to be created. And that's really what guided us through all of this is just asking what's the next step? What wants to come through here? And it wasn't just in the design phase. I mean, it's a whole rebrand for Daria. And so her offerings have been renewed. They're being rebirthed through this website. So it was a very deep process for both of us, really, but it was a deep process of brand alchemy and transition for Daria. And so really the task that I felt was in front of me was how do I capture Daria's essence in this work? So, how do I take her frequency and put it into form through this website?
We both have our individual devotional practices and spiritual practices in which we're trying to do our part in really helping to create a new reality and a new world and to move out of the old paradigm and into one which is aligned with life, with the feminine energy of creation, where there's balance between the masculine and the feminine. And so we had to really break down a lot of these preconceptions about creating and collaboration. And there were times where we had to remind each other, like, okay, right now is not a time to push through. Right now is a time to listen. Like when we would run into a block or an issue, there was always a lesson there and a way for us to embody what we're trying to learn and what we're trying to create more. What is it that I need to hear? Why isn't this moving forward? And sometimes it's just divine timing. And really having a trust in that is such a huge part of the process, that we would be like, why aren't we able to get this happening now? And then something would come up later down the line. It was like, oh, thank goodness we didn't do that then. It saved us so much work because this is actually the direction we're meant to go in. And so the pieces kind of fall together in their own way. We had to relearn the grind, the pushing, the if you put in this many hours, you're going to get this much of a result. And there were times where we both just needed to rest and put it away. And then we would come back with new eyes, with an open heart, with a new perspective, new knowledge. And then, of course, timing is all playing into this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the process that we took. And it's so different than how websites are traditionally built and how I used to build them back in the day, where, like Daria said, there's so much pressure and these sharp deadlines, and it was just so fast paced. And I felt like with Daria's site, there was so much room for the creation to breathe and show us how it wanted to be put together. There's spaciousness and flow and alignment with divine will and divine timing. And Daria and I just really both surrendered to that process fully, where it wasn't this push pull. It's so beautiful, really. It's been a dance and very fluid. We really set the intention to align it with the frequency of the divine feminine, like the creation process. And that was just absolutely beautiful. And it shows in the art that we created.
And I think it has a multidimensionality to it. It has a depth to it because we went through that process, that it can really hold this container for a long time and hold it as I grow and as my offerings grow and expand. So, what does it mean to build a website as a sacred space?
Yeah, so it's the frequency. In my perspective, it's fine-tuning the frequency to capture the essence of the person or brand, in this case, Daria and Starlight and Sphinx, which is her shop, and honoring that co-creative process and also this divine orchestration that took place to create this, bringing in the divine support that we both needed and creating the frequency of a sacred space online, which I feel like people think of sacred space as like a space in their home or, a church or a chapel, but they don't necessarily put it in this perspective of a website, a digital home, but that's exactly what it is. So my hopes is that when you enter this sacred space, you'll be able to feel that frequency. And I want to say holiness that's interwoven in it.
Yeah, you definitely get a healing going to the space and just
Yeah.
playing and looking there. And I think it's opening to the divine, calling in that support, consciously working with it, and then also grounding it. And I think that's what Sarah really does so well. It's to bring, I think she used the words, bringing that frequency into form. And that's the way that you ground it so that it's a real, even though it's a digital space, it holds you in a way and lets you get a sense of me and what I'm offering. So, yeah.
And that's been Daria's feedback too with this is it feels like me. It feels like me. And that's exactly what we wanted, is it to feel like Daria, and then capturing that frequency in this site. When people visit it, they'll be able to just clearly resonate or not with Daria's frequency, but because it is attuned to her frequency, that will just happen organically to bring
Yeah.
in the most aligned people into her world.
Yeah. And one thing that we really wanted to do was I wanted to speak with my voice to my audience and have a big open heart and open arms to whoever that audience happens to be. I don't have a vision of my perfect client. I just know that they will resonate with me. And then, in the same way, we're not speaking to some broad audience or trying to make it something that everybody's going to like or everybody's going to understand. Because then I would end up creating confusion, ended up with clients who don't resonate with me. So all of those things are key. And so, with that, maybe we can jump into some of the new offerings and some of the
Yeah.
exciting things that are happening on the website. So, we have an amazing free gift, which was Sarah's idea, and it's a beautiful activity book. So, you can print it out and you can get out your art supplies, and it guides you through a process of connecting to your heart, connecting to your intuition. There's space to really dream and just let go of any sense of what might or might not be possible or what might or might not be acceptable, and delve into what really feels good for you, what doesn't feel good for you. And then as you move through it, there's points within it where you can ground those dreams or start to take steps towards manifesting them in a really playful and fun way. So we really hope that you will check that out. And I have a new sacred container, which I don't think would be possible for me to hold this space without this beautiful website. I'm calling it the Two Moon Alchemy Spiral, and you can read all about it on the website. I'll hold space for you for 4 months, and it's a sacred container for transformation. If you have something that you really want to clear or shift, something that you want to create, if you want to really deepen your practice of self-love and healing, or you're in a transition, it's just an amazing offering. I'm so excited about it. I'm just finishing up a cycle with the client, and it's been really, really magical to see how much she has changed. We have, I think this is everybody's favorite part of the website, the Children's Corner. And it is for children of all ages. So please don't think that you don't get to play just because you're of a certain age. So there's a guided meditation to meet your unicorn, there's a story. And if you are an adult, you can read it aloud to your child or to your loved one or to your inner child. And there's interactive games. It's just so wonderful. Then we have the sacred art, which in my shop, Starlight and Sphinx. So I'll talk more about the artwork in a minute. Sarah mentioned that a lot of the work that I'm offering now has kind of evolved with the building of this website, because I really wanted to make sure that it was all the things that I'm offering are things that I really want to do. And I'm not doing because I need to make money or I want to give people what I think they might want. And they're all things that I can really stand behind, put my heart into, and offer with love and with all of my energy. I'm so excited about that. And through the process of building the website, there were edits, like me looking at things that I have offered in the past, and maybe that depletes me a little bit. Or maybe if I do offer that, then I can't really give everything to this other thing that I love. So I think that was one benefit for me of putting everything together: the art, the spiritual offerings, and work for children.
What are you most excited about stepping into this new era with your website?
Well, I'm so excited to promote my new children's book, which is coming out in June. So you'll hear more about that coming up. That has been such a passion project, and I'm so, so, so proud of it and can't wait to share it with you all. I'm excited to have my art out there for sale. And yeah, I really am. And I'm excited to create more art and to continue working with those energies that are coming through in the art. I guess it would be a good time to talk about the art.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so I have on offer what I'm calling sacred art prints. I will have some original art coming up in the future. I have beautiful prints there on gorgeous bamboo and cotton paper with beautiful colorway. The art is gorgeous, archival, and it's as eco-friendly as you can get and gorgeous. So it just really feels like an object, it's got a beautiful texture, rich colors. I've been working with ascended masters and guides and just aspects of spiritual mastery. So some of the illustrations that are in my prints are from upcoming oracle deck that I'm working on, and some are directly channeled through ascended masters who are wanting to bring their frequency through my art. And that's quite a process as well, just the way that Sarah and I co-created to make this website. This is a co-creative process for me, making art with these energies. And as I'm making a piece, I'm learning, and there's always an initiation for me that helps me to embody the teachings of that master. So, for example, when I was working on the Lilith template, believe me, I'm in a dark night of the soul, or I'm walking through looking at my shadow, finding the gifts in that, and really accessing my power, dealing with my suppressed anger. All of that comes up for me in my life as I'm working on a piece. And I will sit down thinking, for example, when I did the Lady Sarah template, I sat down to draw Kali, and I was meditating to tune into Kali, and Lady Sarah came through. And that was quite interesting for me because I was seeing a relationship between Lady Sarah and Kali, and I saw Sarah in a way that I hadn't seen her before. And then that template just opened up a whole new set of doorways and possibilities. So I'm really, really excited to offer them. And when you bring one of them home, they will template your space. They're light coded and they are made very consciously in co creation with spirit. And I think they're beautiful. So I'm really excited to share them. And I hope that you'll find something that resonates for you.
Yes, and each art print comes with a sacred meditation too to connect deeper to the frequency of the print.
Yeah. And even the children's art comes with a children's meditation for a child or an inner child.
Yeah.
So, Sarah, I don't know if you want to share anything about what magic means to you, or like you talked also about hitting the frequency and bringing through someone's frequency. Like, how do you know when that's
Oh,
happening?
yeah, it's a really good question. So when I sit down to design a website, I set sacred space and then I connect to the divine and divine will and my guides. And I basically say, please lead the way. What is the most divinely aligned task for me to do? Or next step, I ask to actually clear out my stuff and my will and align my day with the divine's will. And then I listen. It's so interesting because it's just so intuitive. I just know. So if I'm browsing through graphics or templates or whatever, I'll just stop and it's just like, that's the one. And then I see it. I have a vision. Okay, yeah, it goes in this space on the website and it's going to look like this. And here's the colors. And then I see it. And then I bring that into form. And then I will look at the page as a whole. Okay, how is this feeling? What's good? What's missing? What needs refinement? How could this be better? And then, of course, I'm thinking of UX, which is user experience. So there is definitely strategy that goes into it in terms of, okay, how can we make the best experience possible for the user? And then also with the aesthetic and the frequency, like bringing in Daria's frequency into it. So yeah, it's a very intuitive process. That's really what it is just this knowing. I go through the typical process of web design, but I just am able to put it together with the help of the divine, which is something that I didn't used to do in my previous work. And so it's vastly, vastly different. And it goes into what Daria and I were saying in the beginning about divine timing, just really surrendering to divine timing. Because one day you might get in this huge flow, and then the next day you can't touch the site. Something else is unfolding and it just needs to breathe while that thing unfolds, for example, versus working 8 hours a day every day. It's just not like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're describing my process with making the art because there's things unfolding in my reality that
Yeah,
actually end up impacting how I'm able to move forward with the art. And
right.
that's the essence of alchemy, right? And for me, that's what this is about. Because you said I'm going through the regular process, right?
Yeah.
And I just think that's what the patriarchy missed, you know, what the world is missing. It's just we're not doing everything wrong. We're just kind of going about it in the wrong way. You know,
Yeah.
we just
Yeah.
miss this incredibly crucial component.
Yeah.
And it's so available. And it's like that's such a huge part of my work is to really empower people to access that and to realign with it. It's right there. And it's constantly calling us. We just have to get that stuff out of the way. Like you said,
Yeah.
clear my will, my ego
Right.
out, and then it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It was such a beautiful process to collaborate with Sarah as well, because, as an artist, I'm working obviously in co-creation with universal energies, but working in collaboration with a human person is a different thing. And it's a huge part of mastery and a part of grounding these spiritual ideals into the world in order to move forward in a new way. It's like someone's always mirroring for you, right? When you're working with someone, it's showing you things that you need to learn about yourself, helping you to deepen into your self-worth and self-love, because it's so easy to see the divine in others. Just an example, like if I would get frustrated with someone, it's to stop and say, okay, what's within me? What I need to look at? Like, is this a moment where I really need to speak up? Or is this a moment where I'm being triggered? All of those things. It's like all of that is part of conscious creation. And we don't compartmentalize work, relationship, dinner time, you know what I mean? Like clock out. I mean, you're setting boundaries in your life, and we have all of that. But something that happens in one aspect of your life, it impacts everything. And so that applies also to work, the work we're doing, and the people we're working with, and how we do that. So it's big. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we can say, oh, we're making a website in co-creation with the divine, and it sounds all beautiful and idealistic, but it's actually pretty gritty. Like it's actually raw and it's hard sometimes, but there's a devotion and there's a trust that Sarah articulated so beautifully. That carries through. That carries through everything. So then it carries through what we put out into the world. It carries through how we interact with someone at the grocery store or all of that.
Yeah, it's definitely all connected. Like you said, all the various aspects of our lives, it's all connected. And especially in the process of creating a website, because you're really rebirthing your brand into the world. So it makes sense that you're going to go through this process and you're going to be tested, and there's self-worth comes, all of these things, empowerment and integrity, and it's all going to come up in this process of rebrand and brand alchemy. But like you said in the beginning, it's all to create an extremely solid foundation to move forward and share your gifts with the world, and just to have a digital presence that supports all you want to create and however your brand and essence wants to express itself.
Yeah.
Yay.
And we did have lots of fun too.
So much fun.
I think that definitely comes
Yeah.
through in the website because it's
Yeah.
really fun
It's
to.
really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I did have at the very beginning, I had my brand values, my keywords that those kind of guided us, and they're in the footer on every page. And so you can go check that out.
Check that out.
Sarah, what's your favorite part of the website?
Oh, the game. There's a interactive game on the Children's Corner page, and that would be my favorite. And like Daria said, Children's Corner is really for children and the child within all of us. And so I feel like just as much as a child will have a blast with it, you just might too. So I highly recommend checking it out. Honestly, when I go to it and play it, I just feel my nervous system just like, like whatever worries, it's like, nope, we're doing this now. I just love it. It makes me so happy. What about you, Daria?
Yeah, that's the same. Well, and I also love that we have a little meet the team section on the about page, and
so cute.
That's probably one of my other favorite parts. So
yeah. Little surprise member of the dream team.
Yeah.
Might just melt your heart.
Uh-huh. So I really love for Sarah to take a minute to talk about how she wants to take what she's learned through this process and add it to her offerings and what she's moving forward with, if you're up for that.
Wow, yeah. The first thing that came to my mind as you were speaking is, and it's actually something we haven't touched on yet, is the presence and involvement of transference healing throughout this whole process of co-creation with Daria's website. I feel like that's something I've learned is to have that as the support, supporting us. So I'm a transference healing practitioner, Daria's a transference healing practitioner. So we're both constantly running the energies on ourselves, but we also run it on the website. We run it on the project. We've run it on the website launch. Like we're running it on Daria's business. We're running the energies to support our whole effort here, our whole co-creative process the whole time to raise the frequency of it and align all the energies with divine will. So that's been huge. I feel like through Daria's project, I have a greater sense of clarity that that is the foundation of myself personally and my business and future work with clients. And so it's just going to be more integrated into my work moving forward, where if someone works with me, they're getting sessions on their business and their website and themselves. Transference Healing opens such possibilities and new doorways, and it's just so beautiful. Like, why not have that integrated into my work? And so that was a huge takeaway for me, is learning just how important that is.
Yeah, thank you so much for honoring and sharing that. And I think everything that I was saying before about the way that it's like with transference, the world comes alive. The way that I was talking about how everything is connected and how you're learning in this place while this is happening in this other place. And it's like those connections, they're there. And transference healing really opens that doorway and reminds us and helps us to see through the veils that humanity has put in between us and nature, in between us and the magic of life. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you can read more about transference healing on my website. Those are the healings that I offer. And after finishing level 5 mystery school, I'm now offering, with the launch of my new website, a new session called 7 Planes of Transformation, which includes a full advanced level transference healing and an alchemy healing. So if you haven't tried that yet, it's amazing. Sarah's had both. What would you say is the difference that popped
Oh,
out for you?
yeah, I think there's a absolutely palpable difference between a advanced level TH, so normal TH transference healing session, and the 7 planes of transformation. Like Daria said, that includes a full TH and plus more. So yes, I've had several. I feel like for me, it's like the frequency is it's higher, the healing is deeper, the changes are more profound. And it's like for me, if I'm going through something like a real potent time of transformation or transition or in a huge initiation process, these really potent times, then I reach out and ask Daria for a 7 planes because I'm like, okay, I need an extra boost here to help me through. It's incredible what it's able to do, especially in those times. And it's, in my experience, more powerful. And yeah,
And the
just like
TH on its own is very powerful.
is
So
already so
not to underplay.
powerful, which is why it's so amazing. Yeah, the 7 planes is something I recommend for sure.
Well, I guess I can talk just this minute about some future things that are coming up. And
Yeah.
I just can't wait to hear what all of you think of the new website. I'd love to have feedback, even feedback that you think, oh, this could be a little bit better. This part isn't working for me. Sarah and I are always asking for help improving. And we really want to know what clicks for you and what you love and what works. And so, yeah, so I'll have my children's book, which is called The World in Me. It's coming out from Schiffer Books on June 28th. You can pre order it now. And we'll start talking a little bit more about it as we get closer to the launch date. But it's really about what I was talking about with that interconnection between all life and the way that nature and we're so connected. We're so connected. And I think the key to really healing and creating a different reality is to remember that. So that's what that book's about. I'm working on an oracle deck that I mentioned. Working title is Song of the World's Oracle. And it's kind of like an attunement tool to come back into alignment with this orchestra of life. And I'll have some upcoming trainings in transference healing. I'm looking forward to offering an animal magic workshop, a child of light workshop. And those are really great ways for you to dip your toe in. I mean, they're powerful, but without jumping into the huge commitment of fundamentals and advanced level training, which I'll also be offering. The smaller workshops are really, really powerful. Child of Light really helps us to support the new children that are incarnating. This world is so overwhelming to them, that ones that are so open. And animal magic is just very, very shamanic and very purifying and powerful. And just more prints coming. And I'm just so excited to connect with more people and open up this website, this sacred space for all of you. And also, of course, Sarah and I have more collaborations that are in the works that we'll be able to talk about more later, because it's not over.
Yeah, for sure.
Did we miss anything, Sarah?
Let's see, final thoughts here. I'm just so excited for you to come explore Daria's website. And you'll see on the homepage, it says, "Welcome to my world." And that's really what we intended to capture, was this is Daria's world. So yeah, thank you so much for coming and celebrating with us today. And we are so excited to hear your thoughts and feelings and how the website made you feel and what you got out of it. It's just been such a joy and amazing process for both of us. And I'm so grateful and honored to have been a part of it.
Oh.